Shane, we're standing in front of our IP44 equipment. Let's first talk about what does IP44 mean?
Well, IP44 is a designation based on a certification, and the IP stands for Ingress Protection, which basically means that you're preventing objects or liquids from being able to penetrate the interior of the unit. The first four represents solids, so at what level any kind of solids could penetrate the brewer. The second four is liquids, at what level liquids can penetrate it. So the IP44 rating or the IP rating that we have, being 44, is specifically for maritime units. And it is a European rating ultimately, but it was one that was established for the maritime industry and also for being able to use a product like this out in an outside environment.
FETCO is the only coffee brewing manufacturer that has an IP44 rated line of equipment. Please visit our resource center to watch our 2 videos on our maritime IP44 equipment. Let's talk about the difference between our IP44 line and our standard line of brewers, because our IP44 line is really a couple of our 50 series and one of our 60 series brewers that are rated for IP44, as well as 2 of our hot water brewers.
Right, and for those of you who know our product, you're probably looking at this machine behind us and saying, that's just a regular 62H. And that's how minimal the changes are to a large degree, but it's important to point out that there are certain facets of this, such as there's no vents on the sides, there's no vents in the front of the top cover. The switches and lights are actually covered in boots so that it prevents moisture from being able to penetrate. There's a special seal behind the handle that you use to pull down to begin a brew cycle. There's a special seal there to prevent moisture. And the top cover assembly is specially constructed so that it actually comes over the edge so that it prevents penetration there. And then it covers up the vents in the back so that moisture and solids can't get through there either.
So while we were talking about cruise ships and equipment, why is it important to be preventing liquids and solids from entering a brewer?
Well, it comes down to the standard that is required inside the galleys on the ships. They have a certain requirement for cleaning, and that cleaning requires that they hose down the equipment. So ultimately, you need to be able to do that with any piece of equipment that's back of the house. Even though this could be used anywhere on shipboard, it's more important for that back of the house use. And they spray the units down from top to bottom in all different directions, so that's why it has to be able to pass that IP44 rating.
So Shane, we've talked about our IP44 equipment being ideal for cruise ships. But where else can this equipment be used?
Well, we mentioned that it also can be used outside, but we really didn't mention in what type of venue we're talking about. A piece of equipment like this could be used in an outdoor bar type scenario where there is partial covering. It could be used in a carnival type environment where there isn't full protection, but there's a possibility during a rain or whatever it could be hit by rain. You wouldn't want it in full open outdoor use, but it could be used in that type of environment.
Let's talk about the dispensers that work with our maritime brewers. We obviously have the 62 in front of us, but we also have an IP44 version of the 50 series as well.
Okay, with this one, these are the TPD30s. These are the first type of thermal dispenser that FETCO manufactured. They're really pretty much an indestructible type unit. Nice faucet guard on it. It has a sight gauge tube with graduations on the front, half-gallon graduations in the front, and it does come with a twist lock cover assembly on the top that has a handle, and it does have that same type funnel configuration as our other dispensers do. So it does guide the coffee down to the bottom of the dispenser, and it's got these nice handles on the side so it's easy to carry, and they're horizontal so that if you needed 2 people to carry it, you could very easily do that as well.
So on a cruise ship, it's very important to bolt, obviously, the brewer to the counter. And we do have special holders for the dispensers as well.
Yes, we do. We actually have lockdowns for these. We have serving rings, what we call serving rings, where this would actually be placed inside the serving ring so it can't move. And then we also have lockdowns for when you're brewing into it that can be mounted to the counter as well. For our other types of dispensers that we use, we have different types. The TPD15, we just have smaller versions. The TPD15 is used with the CBS 52H, and then there's also the LDs, and you can also use L3Ds front of the house. But if it's back of the house, it would be the TPDs that have the lockdowns.